on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
ADBN, Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Hello, good morning, and a warm welcome to ADBN's flagship program, Morning Express. Now, this is the place where we dissect issues of national interest regarding oil and gas security, the economy, as well as Nigerians' general well-being. Now, at this point, we'll join Amo Marcus over at our news desk to bring us up to speed with some developments in the news, after which we'll come back here and have broad and in-depth discussions around national issues. Hello and good morning, Ama.
Hello, Chijoke. Good morning and welcome to ADBN News at 7. We bring you the latest headlines from across the nation and the world. I am Ama Marcus. Dangote Petroleum Refinery has taken delivery of 4 cargoes of crude oil from Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited under the Naira for Crude agreement, according to officials of the refinery and the federal government on Tuesday. These cargoes were delivered over the past 3 weeks, marking the beginning of sale of crude oil to local refineries in exchange for local currency. Sources within the refinery disclosed that more deliveries are expected as the plant prepares to sell refined products like premium motor spirit, commonly known as petrol, to local dealers in Naira. Despite challenges faced by the refinery, federal government's approval of the Naira for Crude deal has made it easier for the refinery to receive domestic crude with a 6-month trial period. And NPCL is expected to supply approximately 385,000 barrels per day to Dangote Refinery, which will release refined products into the domestic markets in Naira. Meanwhile, industry stakeholders, including the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, have welcomed the move. The IBMAN spokesperson, Mr. Chinedu Ukadike, noted that increased crude supply to the Dangote refinery would address shortfalls in PMS availability, and the pricing would eventually be determined by market forces of supply and demand. Senate has expressed dissatisfaction with the allegations of drug deals by its Deputy Senate leader, Senator Ayelola Ashiru. The upper legislative chamber took the decision on Tuesday after Ashiru moved a motion on order of privilege.
The ambiguous resolve of the Senate is that the menace of drug should be frontally confronted no matter the personality involved. The NDA has made unfounded allegations against me. These allegations are malicious and attempt to undermine my credibility as a senator and impede my ability to fully participate in parliamentary debate.
President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and the upper legislative chamber took the decision on Tuesday after Ashiru and wondered why a report would be put out in the media when there was no formal invitation to the senator by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, describing Senator Ashiru as a respected gentleman and a principal officer. The Senate President said the allegation came as a surprise to him and other senators. He then announced a 6-member ad hoc committee headed by Senator Eyinaya Abaribe to investigate the matter and report back in 1 week.
Dear colleagues, we must take this issue very seriously because injury to one is injury to all, and we must call this agency to order. So it is my personal view that we should immediately set up an ad hoc committee to invite the NDLEA and the rest of them, all those involved, to come and justify the allegations against Senator Ashiru, failing which the Senate will take very drastic actions. Is it the view of the Senate that we set up an ad hoc committee to look at this issue holistically and come up with recommendations before the Senate for appropriate action? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Senate ad hoc committee was summoned. The President charged the ad hoc committee to summon the leadership of NDLEA to appear before the Senate to justify the allegations. Still on the Senate, a bill for an act to establish National Food Reserve Agency has scaled through second reading. The bill was sponsored by Senator Salihu Mustafa of APC Kwara Central. In his lead debate, Senator Salihu Mustafa said the bill, when passed into law, would provide a legal framework on the country's National Food or Grains Reserve Agency to function better than the way it was at the time.
President, distinguished colleagues, the bill seeks to further develop the agricultural sector by ensuring national food security and income through marketing and storage services, as well as addressing emergency food crisis. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the bill will also establish the National Food Reserve Agency for the purpose of implementing the National Food Reserve Policy, reducing post-harvest losses and providing food security for the nation.
Many senators were seen supporting the bill, and it was passed for third reading.
The need for having food reserve for the country. A country of over 200 million people cannot have self-sufficiency and food security without food reserve. And for that reason, the federal government saw it right and established the agency. We even have the agency in existence.
President, distinguished senators, this agency, when established, is not only going to work by way of price stabilization, because the agency will be charged with the responsibility of buying up surplus with a view to storing it during the period of harvest. And when there is scarcity, the agency will now bring it out and sell it to the members of the public by way of subsidized price.
Senator Salisu Mustafa, in an interview, said the bill would concentrate more on legal framework. He said the law will make government increase food preservation by buying grains from local farmers for the agency to preserve. Senator Mustafa said Nigeria relies more on local farmers who primarily farm for feeding and take a little to the market to sell to solve their daily challenges. Meanwhile, House of Representatives has asked Central Bank of Nigeria to increase agricultural lending by banks in the country from 1.4% to 7% of total lending within the next 5 years, with 50% of such lending going through smallholder farmers, through microfinance institutions, farmer cooperatives, and value chain commodity associations at an interest rate of 7.5 to 10.5%. This followed a motion at plenary by Honorable Uchenna Harris Okonkwo on the need to reposition Nigeria incentive-based risk sharing for agricultural lending to ensure optimal performance in boosting agriculture and food production. In his debate on the motion, Honorable Okonkwo said that people are ailing with severe impoverishment across the country, as well as increase in hunger due to decreased agricultural productivity, triggered by low capital investments and insufficient funding of agricultural production.
The House is concerned that the agricultural sector which accounts for 40% of the nation's gross domestic product (GDP) and provides for over 60% of employment, has experienced slower growth recently and is underperforming despite enormous potential. The House is convinced that to reverse the trend, there is need to tackle the challenge of underfinancing of agricultural value chains by providing NERSAL with an additional $3 billion for lending to agricultural value chain actors across Nigeria. The House is cognizant of the need to reduce bank breaks, even interest rates to agricultural value chain borrowers from 7.5% to 10.5%. The House therefore resolves the following. 1. Urge the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to increase agricultural lending to banks from 1.4% to 7% of total lending within the next 5 years.
Mr. Speaker, in the Night Assembly, I was the chairman of Communication Committee. I'm fully aware of NISA. They are making use of post offices across the country so that NISA agricultural loan can get to the nook and crannies of Nigeria. But Mr. Speaker, the Nigerians are not patronizing NISA. The reason is that their interest is high. It's too high for Nigerian farmer to approach them. In as much as we are asking for more money for NISA, the committee that will be referred to should also look at the interest rate NISA is giving out to Nigerians. If their interest rate is so affordable, Nigerians will patronize NISA.
This is a very, very timely motion to be able to give them guidance on how to be able to fulfill their mandate. As we know, food security is very important, and access capital is very important for small holder farmers. So, Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this motion very, very strongly.
House of Representatives has directed its relevant committees to interface with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, FCT Police Commissioner, and Director General of the Department of State Services over the resurgence of activities of one-chance operatives within the capital city. The interface is part of an investigation ordered by the House following the killing of one Miss Nima Sulaiman by one-chance operators on the 17th of October as part of its resolution arising from a motion of urgent national importance sponsored by Honorable Ismail Haruna Dabo. Ms. Sulaiman was a legislative aide to the sponsor of the motion.
Recalls that despite paying ransom in full, her life was tragically cut short. Her body was found between the hours of 9 to 10 p.m. at Maitama Ministers Hill Bridge in Abuja. Disturbed that this heinous crime has sent shockwaves through our community, confirming the escalating insecurity in the FCT, it is our collective responsibility as lawmakers to ensure the safety and security of our citizens. Resolved to, 1, observe a 1-minute silence to pray for late Nima Sulaiman. 2, mandate the Committee on FCT and Police, FCT Police and National Security and Intelligence to summon the FCT Minister, FCT Commissioner of Police, DG, SSS, and order relevant stakeholders to brief the committees on the current security situation within the capital territory.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has set a 27th of October 2024 deadline for beggars to vacate the streets of Abuja. The minister made this statement at Katampe during the flag-off ceremony for the construction of the access road to the new judges' quarters in Abuja. He expressed concern over the rising number of beggars on the streets of the capital, warning that they risk being arrested by enforcement agents if they fail to comply with the directive. FCT correspondent Naomi Oleribe has details.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike noted that the increasing presence of beggars poses a security risk to the city. He added that some of these individuals serve as informants for criminals, including armed robbers and kidnappers.
We have declared war. Abuja is turning to beggar city. If you know you have a sister, you have a brother who is a beggar on the road, please, from next week, we will carry them. We will take them out. I mean, it is embarrassing that people who come in, the first thing they see are just beggars on the road. Sometimes too, they may not be beggars. They may be criminals pretending to be beggars. We will not allow that. So I'm giving you a public holiday from now till Sunday. From Monday, we will pack them out.
On the construction of the new access road, Barrister Wike assured that funding for the project is well secured, with 70% of the required funds already available.
It is the city that tells you how the place will be if foreigners come to the city and the city does not look good. It has given the impression that if the city does not look good, you can imagine what will happen in the rural areas. So let everybody know that we owe a duty to make sure Abuja competes favorably with other cities of the world.
In a related address, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, representing the Speaker of the 10th Assembly, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, stated that the completion of these access roads will enhance the quality of life for both residents and visitors to the city.
The ongoing rehabilitation of major roads, the clearing of illegal structures, and the focus on environmental sustainability are all testament to the Honorable Minister's vision of an Abuja that is not only beautiful, but Abuja that is functional and Abuja that is efficient.
Barrister Wike also reviewed plans to complete 6 additional roads spanning approximately 65 kilometers in various area councils by December. He reiterated his administration's dedication to making Abuja a world-class city capable of competing with other international urban centers. Naomi Oleribe, ADBN News.
In another development, FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike has directed the demolition of all illegal structures in Sabon Lube along the airport road in Abuja. This decision followed an emergency visit to the demolition site where property owners were accused of mobilizing thugs to halt the demolition effort. Naomi Oleribe brings us details.
During the visit, Barrister Wike instructed the Guards Brigade commander to oversee the area and collaborate with the Commissioner of Police and other security agencies to ensure the safety of development control officials as they carry out the demolition. Barrister Wike also held discussions with affected developers and property owners, many of whom claimed they had obtained allocation papers from the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, and insisted their approvals were legitimate. However, Director of Development Control, Malam Mukhtar Galadima, challenged those with such documents to present them to the government for verification. Security operatives have taken control of the area, working closely with the Department of Development Control to complete the demolition of the illegal structures. Naomi Oleribe, ADBN News.
FCT Police Command has reported deaths of 9 wanted kidnappers. This is part of ongoing efforts by the Federal Capital Territory Police Command to combat kidnapping and other criminal activities in the nation's capital. FCT Commissioner of Police CP Olatunji Disu explained that suspects were neutralized during a gun battle with security forces as part of clearance operations in kidnappers' dens located in Quarry Forest of Kaduna State and Gauraka Forest in Niger State. ADBN correspondent Fumilola Adeyemi brings reports.
FCT Commissioner of Police CP Olatunji Disu who briefed newsmen on the atrocity of the bandits and where they were arrested, listed exhibits recovered from them to include 5 AK-47 rifles, 100 rounds of live 7.62 ammunition, 10 AK-47 magazines, among others. CP Disu explained that the suspects were responsible for various armed robbery and kidnapping attacks on Dede, Buhari, and Dawaki communities in the FCT.
We are so happy to inform you on the arrest of these wanted kidnappers. This group of kidnappers we are going to display to you today belong to the group of Buderi Yelu. The other one belongs to Shomo Manu. They have been operating in Kaduna, FCT, Niger, Katsina for the past 4 years.
Present at the parade were kidnapped victims who narrated their ordeal in the hands of the kidnappers.
When he reached Kachia axis, the ransom he took there was 8.2 million naira. And then they held him as well. Now, after much struggle and then communication with them, they moved them to Zamfara axis. All this trekking from here, Abuja, to Kachia was trekking, not there wasn't any mobility. So from Kachia, they proceeded by foot to Zamfara axis.
One of the suspected kidnappers spoke on his level of involvement in the crime.
We kidnap people for ransom. In total, I have made 600,000 naira from it.
The command, however, reaffirmed its zero-tolerance policy on crime and criminality in the FCT and its environs. Fumilola Adeyemi, ADBN News.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an evocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people they talk.
You know wetin dey worry you.
but you no go fit take help yourself. In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to Ona? What will be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we not dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. You're watching ADBN News at 7. Federal government has revealed its intent to review state laws on local government elections and address delays in conducting polls in some states. This comes as Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, reaffirmed the government's plan to reinforce Supreme Court ruling on local government autonomy during an event in Ekiti on Tuesday. Mr. Fagbemi emphasized that the implementation of the Supreme Court verdict, which grants financial autonomy to the 774 local government areas in Nigeria, is sacrosanct. Currently, 8 states, including Ondo, Osun, and Zamfara, are yet to conduct local government elections for 164 local government areas. Reports suggest President Tinubu may implement the Supreme Court ruling by the end of October, potentially resulting in the federal government withholding federal allocations to local government areas that have not held elections. The AGF noted that although the court ruling must be implemented, the government is treading cautiously to avoid future legal challenges. He rejected claims that states were given a 3-month memorandum clarifying that the government only sought to establish procedures for smooth implementation. Governor Abdullahi Sule has lauded the Nasarawa Geographic Information Service for its dedication to increasing the state revenue despite recent fire that damaged the office. Speaking at the reopening of the NAGIS head office and the launch of the 2024 Customer Service Week in Lafia, the governor highlighted that since 2019, the state has invested over 2 billion naira in NAGIS, which has generated over 5 billion naira in revenue. He emphasized the need for further building on these achievements for the state's development and expressed gratitude to his predecessor for initiating the program, underscoring the importance of understanding Nasarawa's geography.
It's very important we understand the entire mapping of Nasarawa state, the entire landscape of Nasarawa. Today, you can go into NIDIS and you can zoom exactly what is happening and for this purpose. It is easy for us to be able to have an idea about how many houses we have in Nasarawa state, how many locations we have, how many free land we have, what kind of development we are taking to so and so place, and do we have opportunities to take such development to those places. It is only with Dinajis that you will be able to do this.
Representing the former governor, Senator Tanko Al-Makaura, Aminu Mazal Maifata, the immediate past Algon chairman, commended Governor Sule for continuing the NAGIS. He also praised the Director General for his efforts and assured ongoing support for state progress.
You have done well, not even stopping at that. You provided everything that enabled Najis to reach where they are today. A good commendation should go to the DG too for not failing you in believing in him by allowing him to continue as DG of Najis, for that feat and for sustaining the operations of Najis, which enable Najis to continue to generate revenues in geometric progression.
NAGIS's Director General, Sonny Agassi, thanked the governor for his prompt response following the fire incident and for approving the swift renovation of the office. He also highlighted the significance of Customer Service Week and its impact on the public.
Now we are going to starting the backup on the cloud.
So we directly ordered from the US the latest equipment, Sophos and NAS, just to enable us to start within 1 month backing both sites on the cloud. And for a third line of protection, we can use also a server in the government house which will connect to the cloud, and we have this data everywhere. So this is about the data and how we are planning to fix this problem and prevent. And I will assure you that the data is okay, and I will assure you that NAGIS is the first to implement this in Nigeria.
Today we are talking about revenue generation from land information services. I recall 12 years back when we took off in June 2012, the revenue base from land administration from the ministry was just about 30 million naira annually. But I know that we have gone beyond what most people are expecting, and it can only get better. You've heard from the consultant what the new thinking of. We've not lost any data because it has been structured in such a way that no matter what happens, the backup will always come to the rescue. Now that we are going to cloud computing, it will get much, much better than what we're having today.
In their separate remarks, Georges Garnham, an NAGIS consultant from Siraj, noted that the transition in government did not disrupt the institution and stressed the importance of having a robust backup system in case of disasters. Additionally, the Emir of Nasarawa and former NAGIS project manager Alhaji Ibrahim Usman discussed the sharp rise in revenue generation since NAGIS was established. Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State has inaugurated the Nothora Tractor Assembly Plant and Service Center, a project by Danish firm Odik Group as part of his administration's plan to grow the state economy from $4.4 billion to $30 billion. This initiative is expected to significantly contribute to job creation and economic development in Enugu State. Governor Mbah explained that while 200 tractors would be imported, fully assembled, 800 more would be assembled locally in Enugu. This local assembly effort aligns with his administration's vision of attracting investors and promoting industrialization. Enugu State Governor, in his speech, reaffirmed his government's commitment to providing infrastructure and security for investors, ensuring an environment conducive for business to grow. The governor's remarks were echoed by the Odik Group CEO, Mr. Morten Anderson, who praised Enugu's potential for innovation and development. In another milestone for the state, Governor Mbah also commissioned the new Watson Doe Industry in Nachi, established by a Chinese firm, as its first African investment. The governor applauded the company's decision to invest in Enugu, emphasizing that the supportiveness of the business environment of his administration has cultivated an attractive international investment firm. Governor Mbah therefore called for more global companies to invest in Enugu, reaffirming his administration's dedication to fostering sustainable economic growth through partnership with the private sector. Enugu State Electricity Regulatory Commission has assumed full regulatory oversight of the state's electric market in a historic move following the expiration of a 6-month transfer of regulatory authority from Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission. This makes Enugu the first state in Nigeria and across Africa to establish a sub-national electricity market. Under this new framework, the EERC granted licenses to Main Power Electricity Distribution Limited, a subsidiary of Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, and Fedyoke Limited for the state's first independent power project, which will build a 10-megawatt power plant. EERC's regulatory powers come from the Enugu State Electricity Law 2023, earlier this year. The Commission's chairman, Mr. Chijioke Okonkwo, hailed the transition as a significant step towards creating efficient and responsive electricity markets across Africa, emphasizing the Commission's goal of providing reliable, affordable and sustainable electricity to the people of Enugu. Mr. Okonkwo also credited Governor Peter Mbah's administration for its support in establishing the EERC as an independent regulator, ensuring autonomy in decision-making to benefit residents. He added that the state aims to set a precedent for other regions in Nigeria and Africa to follow. A board member of Main Power, Mr. Kester, assured residents of better electricity services, noting that the new regulatory framework would enhance service delivery and efficiency. He emphasized that Main Power is fully committed to leveraging this new infrastructure to provide consistent power supply. Meanwhile, founder and CEO of Fedioke Limited, Mr. Chukwuloka Ume, commended the EERC for spearheading this groundbreaking shift. He expressed optimism about the collaboration between Fedioke, Main Power and the EERC, noting that the new 10-megawatt plants would help boost industrial growth in the state. And now to report on the foreign scene, Mr. Donald Trump has accused the UK Labour Party of election interference, claiming that some of its activists are helping Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign in the United States. Well, he alleges that a Democratic constitutes illegal foreign assistance. UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, in response, told the BBC Labour members are in the US campaigning in their spare time, dismissing the allegations. Under US law, foreign nationals are allowed to campaign in US elections but cannot be paid for their efforts. Elsewhere in Detroit, former US President Barack Obama shared the stage with rapper Eminem, who publicly endorsed Kamala Harris with less than 2 weeks left until Election Day. Polls show a razor-thin margin in key battleground states. Now to sports. Nigeria's Flamingos have secured a quarter-final matchup against the United States in the ongoing FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, following a 1-0 victory over host nation Dominican Republic earlier on Wednesday. Shakirat Mashoud's impressive strike in the 89th minute from the 24 yards clinched all 3 points for Nigeria. Competing for the first time in Santo Domingo, the energetic Nigerian side faced a challenging game under heavy rain against a resolute host team, struggling to convert their dominant possession onto Mashoud, now with 4 goals in the tournament, unleashed a powerful shot from outside the box. With this victory, the Flamingos topped their group, finishing 3 points ahead of second-place Ecuador, who triumphed over New Zealand 4-0. Vinicius Jr. scored a hat-trick as Real Madrid mounted a remarkable second-half comeback, overcoming a 2-0 defeat to defeat Borussia Dortmund 5-2 in the Champions League on Tuesday night. Well, Dortmund appeared poised to end Real Madrid's impressive 14-match unbeaten streak at home in the competition as they led at halftime. Struggling offensively in the first half, Real Madrid was revitalized after a break, driven by Junior, who is a favourite to win next Monday's Ballon d'Or. With this victory, Real Madrid has now secured 2 wins and suffered 1 loss in their 3 group stage matches, matching Dortmund's record. Arsenal defeated Donetsk 1-0 in the Champions League on Tuesday night, thanks to an own goal by the Ukrainian goalkeeper. Well, this victory marks a rebound for Arsenal after the recent loss to Bournemouth. In the 29th minute, Gabriel Martinelli's shot struck the post off the goalkeeper and rolled off into the net. Well, while they maintained a well-organized defense and posed a threat to the counter-attack, Arsenal's relentless pressure ultimately secured the win. The Gunners will now run their attention to a critical match against the Premier League leaders Liverpool this Sunday. That's it on ADBN News at 7. Remember to watch us live on DSTV channel 258, on StarTimes channel 140, Avo TV app, Limex World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website on adbntv.com. You can watch us live from every part of the world by logging on to adbntv.com/live. Thanks for joining the news this morning. I am Amma Marcus. Do stay tuned for a continuation. Morning Express.
Well, thank you so much, Amma Marcus, for taking us through our first major news bulletin of the day and those timely updates. Now, some Nigerian governors are divided over a suit challenging the legality of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission as well as ICPC. Now, this is also coming at a time when Nigerians are generally divided about the transparency of these two financial crimes organizations. This is one of the many issues that we will be discussing on the program today as they trail many newspaper publications this morning. We'll take a short break. When we come back, I will take you through some newspaper publications, and then later on the show, we'll have our in-house analyst on the program to dissect and have a more broader and more in-depth discussion into some of these topics. So do well to stick around. When we come back, the program continues.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an evocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to turn a smartphone into a filmmaking powerhouse? ADBN TV invites you to an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the ADBN Smartphone Filmmaking Workshop, a captivating exploration of knowledge, skill building, and creative discovery.
Naturally, we are all content creators, but the most important thing is, what are you creating?
This documentary follows eager participants as they dive into the world of filmmaking, learning invaluable techniques, storytelling strategies, lighting and sound design, all from the palm of their hands, from capturing the perfect shot to editing with precision. These filmmakers took part in an immersive journey designed to hone their craft.
We cannot wait to show you the incredible films these talented individuals will produce. But first, witness their passion, learning process, and the transformative power of the Smartphone Filmmaking Workshop. These filmmakers are set to showcase the vibrant culture, challenges, and untold stories of the Niger Delta region. Now showing Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. daily.
Join us as we anticipate the groundbreaking works that will emerge from this workshop. This is not just filmmaking, this is telling the Niger Delta story through every frame.
Only on ADBN TV.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising and social media, we cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk. You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
If you are not a judge, you are not a judge.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first place.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
And you're welcome back to Morning Express. Now, to set the tone for our discussions on the show this morning, we'll be taking a look at some newspaper publications from across the country with stories prominent in the news, as the federal government is seeking the International Monetary Fund's help as flooding continues to ravage parts of the country, and of course oil output crisis that has rocked the oil and gas industry in the country continues to dampen Nigeria's outlook globally. Now, do well to note that these newspaper headline stories are strictly read out as published by the newspaper houses, and these statements are not necessarily the position or stance of ADBN Television on some of these issues. You're also invited to lend in your thoughts, opinions, and comments across our social media handles across Facebook and YouTube. Remember to keep your comments as respectful as possible and refrain from using any inflammatory or inciting statements while you lend your thoughts. Now, that being said, our first paper on the lineup this morning will be the Guardian newspaper, followed by the Business Times, the Daily Independent, as well as the Nigerian News Direct, as we look to see what the federal government is asking the IMF. The Guardian greets your screen right now. We start off with the headline story on the Guardian newspaper saying, federal government seeks IMF's help as flooding, oil output crisis dampen outlook. This story is continued on news page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And of course, you'd find a picture of students and residents traveling via canoes in a community in Mile 12 area of Lagos after the release of water from the Oyon Dam by the Ogun-Osun River Basin Authority yesterday. Quite a harrowing experience here. And rider stories you'd find on The Guardian. Disco's planned meter phase out may worsen Nigeria's 7 million gap as FCCPC intervenes. Lost billions. Why government's youth empowerment efforts are failing. And TCN urges calm as faulty cable throws North into total darkness. In the federal government versus ASU Saga, can public varsities afford another shutdown? Quite a big question there in the news. Frequent grid collapses worsen business outlook. And probate registry issues ultimatum over Herbert Wigwe's estate dispute. Nigeria, others may lose $10.5 trillion to cybercrime next year, as AGF debunks 3 months of grace on enforcement of local government autonomy. Let's move away from the Guardian newspaper. The Business Times newspaper is next up on the line. IMF forecasts Nigeria's economic growth at 3.2% in 2025. This is the headline story on the Business Times newspaper. Straplines read that the IMF has said Nigeria's inflation to ease to 25% in 2025 as they downgrade Nigeria's GDP growth for 2024 to 2.9%. Above the masthead, members of the House of Representatives urge CBN to increase agric lending to 7%, while federal government approves ExxonMobil $1.28 billion assets divestment to Seplat Energy. Feature stories inserted on the Business Times: adapt to FATF standards, SEC urges stakeholders, while NGX gains 120 billion naira as investors bet big on stocks amid earning reports. FCCPC in talks with Discos over Unistar prepaid meter phase out, while global goods trade recovery gradual despite lingering downside risks. This is according to the World Trade Organization. On the rider, federal government directs NNPCL local producers to halt LPG export November 1st. And prominently inserted on the front page of the Business Times newspaper, you'd find a picture of the Commandant General, Special Intelligence Squad of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, who has arrested suspects and recovered liters of crude oil stolen from Abia State on Tuesday. These are the stories on the Business Times newspaper as the Daily Independent comes up next. On the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper, you'd find the headline story: federal government plans increase in oil production to ease FX inflow and stabilize the naira. Says Nigeria on track to meet 2 million barrels per day before end of 2024. Explains why banks can't lend at single-digit interest rate. On the header, IMF downgrades Nigeria's 2024 economic growth forecast to 2.9%. While Supreme Court reserves ruling in 19 states suit challenging EFCC's legality. This is quite a very big story in the news, and we'll be looking to have more discussions on this later on the program. Other feature stories here say that the federal government's housing project for judges is systematic bribery. Huriwa insists action violates sections 4, 5, and 6 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Former Reps Farouk Lawan regains freedom from Kuje prison, and court bars Kano electoral body chairman from conducting local government polls. Faulty transmission line causes power outage in northern Nigeria. And rider story here reads: PDP governors, stakeholders zero in on David Mark for party chair. Party governors deny instituting legal action to hold NEC meeting. Well, let's move away from the Daily Independent and away from stories surrounding the federal government's appeal to the International Monetary Fund and take a look at the internal crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party involving state governors and the much controversial People's Democratic Party National Party Chairman, Umar Damagum. Now, it is saying here that there is a plot thickening as NEC, the PDP's NEC meets Thursday, which is tomorrow. The Punch newspaper, the Blueprint, the Nigeria Tribune, as well as the Matrix newspaper all have semblance in terms of their headline stories surrounding the PDP crisis. Now let's pick up the first paper, shall we? On the Punch newspaper, we start off, PDP crisis. Anti-Damagum plot thickens as NEC meets Thursday. PDP governors, NWC and BOT members meet. Fresh legal battle continues on NEC meeting. And above the masthead, you'd find 3 stories of interest. Naira for crude. Dangote meets or gets NNPCL's first supply. Federal government plans sanctions against defaulting states in the local government autonomy saga. And Nigeria still borrowing amid high debt costs, the IMF has revealed. Here you'd find pictures of operators under pressure over rising boat demands in flooded communities in Lagos State. And rider stories here also read that the federal government has banned cooking gas export over rising prices. How Bobrisky spent night in FCID female cell. And telcos seek NCC's approval to stop bank transfer services over a 250 billion naira debt. Let's move on to the Blueprints newspaper as we quickly get more insight into this particular developing story springing up from the quarters of the PDP. On the Blueprint, ahead of October 24th NEC, Chieftain drags PDP before court in fresh plot to remove Damagum. This is on the Blueprint newspaper. Now, straplines read, Chieftain wants North Central to serve out Ayu's tenure. My reconciliation job concluded, Oyinlola has revealed. And above the headline story and inserted beneath the masthead, my exit from Kuje prison, a new chapter, says former Reps Farouk Lawan in the fuel subsidy bribe saga that took him to prison in the first place. And IMF forecasts Nigeria's economic growth at 2.9% in 2024. Write a story here on the front page of the Blueprint. Federal government is investigating Gulf of Guinea as major routes for arms trafficking in the country. This is a statement by the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu. And elsewhere, Senate summons Marwa probes NDLEA over drug allegations in the Senator Ashiru case. Let's move away from the Blueprint newspaper and have another interesting insight into a statement by former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo stating that Nigeria has in totality disappointed Africa and the rest of the world. Why did he say this and where did he say it? This story is captured on two newspapers, the First News newspaper as well as the Daily Times newspaper. Let's pick up the first copy now, shall we? Now, on the First News newspaper, you'd find the headline story. Nigeria has disappointed Africa, the entire world. Obasanjo. Above that, Reps condemns rising one-chance crimes in Abuja, seeks action. Ogun housewife arrested for severely injuring husband's genitals. While Very Dark Man seeks arrest of Portable in celebration incident. And Abia to implement 70,000 naira minimum wage from October 2024. Beside the masthead, NDDC boss receives First News Award of Excellence. And picture of prominence here, you'd find the governor Duyediri of Bayelsa State flanked by his deputy Lawrence, as well as Major General Jamiu Jimo and other security personnel during the visit of the Defense Headquarters Joint Monitoring Team on Crude Oil Theft at the Government House in Yanagua on Monday, October 21st. And writer stories here say that the 5% tax will ruin telecom industry as they warn of possible shutdown. This is a statement by MTN's boss. Federal government holds cooking gas exports to prioritize domestic supply. Now, that is the last story on the First News newspaper. Let's see if we can pick up the Daily Times newspaper and have a look at a similar headline story and some other news stories as well. On the Daily Times, Nigeria has disappointed Africa and the black race, says former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, blames poor leadership, regionalism, and disunity. Beneath the masthead, Constitution Review, House to engage NGF, NGE, local government chairmen, and CSOs. Former Reps member Farouk Lawan completes jail term and regains freedom. Parents of minor killed by NDLEA officers seek intervention of National Assembly. While Senate investigates NDLEA over drug allegation against Deputy Senate Leader Senator Ashiru. There is a picture here inserted of a flooded area in some parts of Bayelsa State due to rising water levels in the Orachi River, the Niger River, and their tributaries. And rather here reads, child cancer issues on the rise as Luth records 300 cases in just 1 year. While the EFCC has said that Nigeria lost more than $500 million to cybercrime in 2022 alone. Let's, in keeping with more reports in the news, let's take a look at another story here where the unending grid collapse is threatening the survival of businesses, as reports say that some artisans are beginning to take advantage of it to make more profit. The Vanguard newspaper and the Daily Trust newspaper all have semblance in their headline stories. So we'll pick up the first newspaper on this list and have a look at what it looks like there. On the Vanguard, unending grid collapses threaten survival of businesses, says the OPS. Straplines read, they call for full privatization of power sector. It hinders economic growth, says NECA. Frustrating for manufacturers, man has revealed. Mere infrastructure upgrades insufficient. Full privatization needed, Nasima says. Reduces competitiveness of Nigerian businesses, Asbon has also revealed. Elsewhere, Edo government APC transition committee heading for showdown. And federal government asks Supreme Court to dismiss suit seeking to declare EFCC illegal. In the PDP crisis, Oyinlola says we have reconciled feuding NWC members. Now elsewhere, on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, Nigeria requires purposeful leadership and food security for growth, ex-deputy governors have said. And Nigeria has disappointed Africa and the black race, says former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. Why IMF slashed Nigeria's economic growth forecast to 2.9%, continue on the news page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. And in sports, CAF president condemns Super Eagles' inhumane treatment in the Libya versus Nigeria situation. The Daily Trust newspaper greets your screen next as we continue in this review of newspaper headline stories. On the Daily Trust, millers, barbers, tailors deplore massive blackout in the north. I'll take that headline story again. Millers, barbers, tailors deplore massive blackout in the north. Straplines read, power outage grounds business activities. Minister raises committee to investigate grid collapse. Declare state of emergency in electricity sector. This is a statement by a concerned citizen, I believe. Beneath the masthead, you'd find three stories. Interestingly here, Nigeria, Libya saga. CAF may decide case today. 19 die in Plateau auto crash. And Tinubu to Nigerians, buy petrol at 1,000 naira per litre or CNG at 200 naira per meter. Well, these are the many stories here on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Well, there's still some other stories making rounds in the news and newspaper headline publications that we haven't taken, but there is still some more time on the program. At this point, we'll be taking a short break. When we come back, we'll be having our in-house analyst in the studio to discuss some of these issues as we look to have a broader and a more in-depth perspective and a professional analytic perspective into some of these issues. So do well to stick around. We will be back.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising and social media, we cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
into the heartbeat of the world, where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world's unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Welcome back to Morning Express. Now let's delve into matters in the news, starting off with the federal government's appeal to the IMF to come to the country's aid at a time when flooding continues to ravage parts of the country, causing what is described as a dampened outlook of the country on the international stage. Now, of course, the crisis rocking the oil and gas industry and the oil output crisis is also another issue that continues to rock Nigeria's economic standing globally. Well, that being said, we are now being joined by an economist and a public affairs analyst who is a regular on the program, a passionate Nigerian who is always ready to lend his thoughts to issues of national interest. Dr. Aliu Ilyas is joining us in the studio right now. Hello and good morning, Doctor.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
It's wonderful to have you on set this time around now. The last time we had a conversation, it was virtual.
Right, it was virtual. I actually went for CNG conversion.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You have finally done it.
Honestly.
After how many months?
At least 4 months. Trying to get it fixed. No, you go to one station, they said no, and you fill a form, they'll be waiting for them to call you.
Yes.
So the challenge is that even at all you want to do it now, it's not what you can do now.
Yes.
They have to schedule you for at least 2-3 months before you can be invited.
Well, the last paper I read here on the lineup, the president said it's either you buy fuel for 1,000 naira per liter or you buy CNG for 200 naira per meter.
Yes, but the thing, it does not actually come cheap because the way you put it is not correct.
It's
because,
not correct.
CNG is not for the poor. It's not actually easy. I actually did it at 900,000. I'm sure you know what 900,000 to bring that together. Then we have another challenges now. The challenge is that you also queue to buy the CNG.
Interesting.
I'm telling you, that's another. To go to the airport road, you see a lot of car. In fact, you have to calculate at least 1 hour, 30 minutes before you can buy. That's the problem. But in terms of the mileage coverage and the consumption level, it cannot be compared to fuel at all. But I think government need to do more to make sure that CNG is available at virtually like brick and mortar at virtually every 2-3 stations around you. You know, and also it's not about the conversion itself again now. It's about, we only have 2 choices now. Is either you go to Kubwa Road or you go to Lugbe Road.
Yes.
That's the only place, which is not a good one. I actually traveled to some part of Kogi State as well, Okene to be precise. Discovered that the CNG, there was only one.
Station.
There's only one station for the entire city. So it's something that we need to quickly, and I think government should unbundle that area so that private sector can actually come around to actually invest their money.
And that will make it more accessible.
Right.
But don't you think that would also make it more expensive when the private sector comes in? I mean, it's a capitalist society. A businessman would always want to make profits.
No, as an economist, we believe in competition.
Okay.
Competition is always good for business. It's only government to create an enabling environment and not to give one person opportunity compared to the other. Just like what is happening in the refinery now. You could see Dangote have the only refinery that is working, that you have created room for monopoly. But whereby you have different, and I also want to challenge Aliko Dangote, an industrialist par excellence. Why will he also have his own truck queuing for CNG where we that have small car queue? You have to go to airport road. They have almost 1,000, truck queue to also buy CNG gas. I think in his capacity, he can even have 10 stations that will cater to his people.
Explains the long queue of trucks along the airport road.
I mean, in fact, the road is getting, you could see the road is getting affected.
It's already affected.
So I think they should do something meaningful about it, because you cannot tell us to go for CNG perhaps, you know, this Dangote has been enjoying it so much for long.
Yes.
In fact, if you look at the truck, they have one big middle thing that is consuming it. That, according to analysis, what will take them maybe 1.5 million from Lagos to Abuja could take them 150,000. Look at that benefit there. So I think by now, if you have Dangote Petrochemical, Dangote Refinery and Petrochemical, by now you should also open up, you know, go to downstream and open up
CNG. I believe it's perhaps one of the things that is in the pipeline for him.
That would have pushing the effects.
It started off from cement and then transition to sugar, salt, other products.
But I must tell you, that's the major thing that is affecting us. We cannot buy before. You just go 3-4 cars, you know.
But now you have to wait for a long queue of trucks.
And you see those trucks, not the same area, but where you are serving the pump, the truck, you are also serving the cars. Okay. So I think government need to do more to make sure that we have CNG stations where people can actually go. If you have like 15, 20 in Abuja, that would have solved the problem.
Way every corner
exactly.
You look at
so now my CNG is getting reduced, and I'm also thinking,
how do you kill?
How do I kill? You know, Nigeria will see the right of problems. May God help us.
Well, let's hope that in the coming days or weeks, something happens. 4 months. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's not easy.
And now that I'm thinking about starting my own in November, I might get it in
February. That's Nigeria for you.
Let's get down to business.
Right.
The federal government is seeking IMF's help, you know, in a situation like this where reports, especially the Maiduguri flooding and then the flooding in Lagos State recently and Bayelsa as well, you know, have affected a lot of people, damaged a lot of property. People are being thrown into poverty due to that. And of course, the millions, the barrels of crude per day that are being, you know, drawn out of the soil, which Nigerians are sort of, you know, insinuating that there might be some sort of crisis in the oil and gas industry. All of these things are making the federal government to call for help from the IMF. The IMF is also stating on its part that the economy is not really doing well. The projection is not doing well. As an economist, what are we looking at, and why do we see the federal government crying to the IMF again?
Wow. Well, the first thing I would say is that we must acknowledge that the flood issue in Nigeria cannot be attributed to force majeure,
yes,
which is natural, an act of God. Because, you know, this one is Onion Dam in the south, yes, and you are seeing it coming up. What are you supposed to do? At least we have about 10 dams in Nigeria. We can increase the dam and make sure we project, in as much as we have, is it NIMET, Nigeria Meteorological Agency. They can tell you that so period, there's going to be more water, there's going to be more rain. Nothing stop Nigeria to be proactive, yes, especially Nigeria government, fix other thing, open up some dam, you know, create another dam. Look at what happened in Maiduguri. Do you know it happens in 1994? At the same level, you know, the same, to some extent, the same level of the effect, and you have not done anything meaningful. And somebody is saddled with the responsibility. So sometimes, if you even go to IMF, they'll see you as an unserious element, because every year you come, you experience the same issues, and you're not giving another action that will make sure that it really brings it down. Then you could also see that IMF is going back and forth. That's what I should say, because IMF will come and say they are expecting 3.4% in your GDP, yes, but now they say 3.1%. And I can also tell you the IMF as the advisor who advises us on what we are doing that is also bringing down the GDP, which is somehow contradicting. You know, we say we
floating of the naira,
floating of the naira, first subsidy.
These are all IMF policies that were implemented via the federal
tariff.
Government.
You know, these are the things that you tell us to do. You know, increase taxation. You know, these are the things you tell us, and now we are having the negative externality of it, and which is the major problem. So for me, I think Nigeria should start looking at their own economies and put up a direct solution to it. But because now Nigeria should be having more money, you know, that's another thing.
Yes.
Having removed fuel subsidy, we expect us to have more money, but you float the naira, and naira eroded the, you know, all the benefits. Yeah. And when we talk about FAC, you know, every money Nigeria is getting, we are putting it to FAC and sharing within state, and there's nothing to show for it. And so that's why sometimes we think government should should reduce the level at which they put all the money to FAC and intervene in some projects directly. So imagine government gave, in the past, government gave each state 10 billion for CNG buses. So let's think as an economist. Let's look at basic economics. Okay. Why don't you use that money and said create 2 CNG in each state. Gas station in each state, and create maybe little material for people. You know, it solves a lot of problems because you have given them money. How many buses have they even purchased the problem? You know, how many people are those buses?
And you know, initially when the whole CNG buses talk came about or came into the picture, I was having a picture of all these coaster buses or the long luxury buses, you know, just like the ones that ply the roads in Abuja.
Right.
But surprisingly, when I saw a picture of the CNG buses, I noticed they were just normal 16-seater buses.
What the thing is, you know, when we talk as an economist, our thinking is a bit, you know, long-run effect. So for me, buying CNG, buying buses wouldn't have been the solution.
Setting up
the infrastructure and make it more easier. In fact, I was happy when I got to Okene, as I said. I saw some keke, you know, all of them have the gas, cylinder, you know, everybody's, you know, things is much more. So I think government should be conscious of creating infrastructure, enabling the environment, availability of CNG, not going to go and buy a buses. Remember in the last, is it October 1st, government said 64 buses for 64 CNG buses for NANS and for NLC. And I wonder in my mind, how can you say 64? 64 for each state or for each local government, because I don't understand. You want it to be, you know, to make meaningful impact. So for me, invest more on infrastructure and environment.
It's just a lot of effort not channeled in the right direction.
Right.
But let's come back to the issue of the federal government and the IMF, Dr. Aliu. I believe right now that a majority of Nigerians are wondering, why does the federal government continue going back to the IMF when already we are burdened by so much loan and loan servicing that is almost crippling the economy?
Right.
Why do they keep going back?
I don't think, you know, borrowing is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing for us.
To a layman, he just assumes, oh, they just borrow monies from IMF, they borrow money from the Paris Club, and then they don't know what these monies are.
The question is, what are you borrowing for?
That's the bigger question.
The question is that have you exhausted your own internal ability mechanism before you go borrowing? And that's why we want to tend to appreciate some borrowing, whereby they said project tied loan. Yes. When China give you money, they follow you to the project. They will be involved in the what? In the project. So the long run, look at our railway in Abuja. You know, you could see they were even up to now. They are still. I think they still manage it. You know, sometimes you will love something like that because in the long run, it might not bring that. It might not pay itself. Yeah. But you know, look at things that around it, life that it make easier for people. You know, and the economic impact in the long run will pay for it. So I think government should stop borrowing for such thing. For me, if you have more money now, why don't you project to that area? Yes. You know, now we are also preparing budget for next year. So now it simply means that next year budget borrowing, you know, what they are saying now is going to be in next year budget. You know, that's how it is. So I am looking at a situation whereby we say, okay, let's just hold on for borrowing and see how things actually run. Because sometimes you need to tighten your belt and see how. So Nigeria should look at loopholes where money are not supposed to go, cut it, you know, and make sure. And that's why some of the advice of the Taiwo, your daily taxman.
9 million naira, 18%. Next 13 million naira, 21%. Next 25 million naira, 23%. And above 50 million naira, 25%. Personal income tax.
Right.
How do you break this down to the common man? That if he earns money, if he earns, say, 2.2 million naira through his business as his personal money, he's to remit 15% of that money to the federal government.
Right. I think a lot of things need to be exhausted in that. Because I think would they be able to pass this? That is the question.
That's a very big question. Now let's talk about VAT now. Now that you have raised the issue of taxation, I want us to exhaust it in totality.
Right.
VAT has been one issue that most Nigerians, well, they have accepted that it has come to stay. The value-added tax, 7.5%.
Going to 10.
Going to 10% at the moment. Now, going to 10, Nigerians are already crying. For the year
to something. So now, if you say you increase by 2025, you know, from 7.5 to 10%, what are you giving to businessmen? Yes. That's the question. If you say you are increasing it and this is the enabling environment, you take advantage of this, and you have said you not collect from 25 million, below. If you can actually match it with what you are going to offer, it's not a problem. If you have a booming economy and an enabling environment, and you'll be free to pay. But by the time you have bad road, bad network,
about personal income tax, and also about ensuring that what you earn is the level that you are taxed in. There should be some sort of disparity with regards to how much people pay as taxes to the federal government. Let's move away from the issue of taxation now and the economy and touch a little bit on politics, where the People's Democratic Party continues to grapple with an internal crisis rocking it. And of course, the anti-Damagum plot is thickening. This is coming in the wake of a NEC meeting which will take place tomorrow, Thursday. PDP is gradually becoming an old shadow of itself. A shadow of its old self. A lot of people have shared this opinion via social media, on television, in writing. Is PDP gradually becoming obsolete and irrelevant in the Nigerian political space?
Well, let me join people that bring another person from the middle belt, not central, to actually to take the mantle of the leadership, and that's what is actually causing the problem. But I heard that maybe the former Senate president is also warming up to be the chairman of the political.
Senator David Mark.
David Mark. So they have a lot of them. Even Bukola Saraki is there. They are from the middle belt. We have Salau from Kogi. A lot of people are there that they can actually bring about. So until they get to settle it very well, and they should learn how to use their armor. Yes. Because if somebody is influencing a negative, is bringing a negative influence, narrative to you, it's just to let him go. Because now, according to chairman of APC, former governor of Kano State, Ganduje, he said, we will take all those states from you.
He used the term capture. He will capture all those states and the entire Southwest.
Right. That statement is quite, as somebody now expected, how do I call it? The disposition, the agile disposition of a party person. When you want to take leadership, sometimes you need to be a bit rugged politically so that you can actually influence a lot of things. And some people suspect that Wike is also influencing him to an extent. So what to
remain in the party,
to remain as chairman of the party, because once the mantle of leadership is taken away from him, it's possible Wike may not have influence.
And there might be some people with a personal vendetta against Wike that will strike.
Exactly. Immediately they assume the office, he may be the first person, because ideally you are in APC government. And we can also see what is happening in your states, So people, remember that governor is even PDP. For me, PDP is not trying to support that man as expected. So all these intrigues is the major thing that we'll see playing out tomorrow.
Well, we continue to look out for the NEC meeting with the PDP tomorrow, Thursday, and see what the outcome would look like. And just as much as Dr. Alio has mentioned, he is expecting Damagum to step down. Now, while on one hand, some people want him away, others want him to remain in the party. Why? I do not know, but tomorrow we will find out. Moving away from that issue, former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo has made a very big statement recently in the news. First, it was that Nigeria also said that Nigeria has disappointed Africa and the entire world. Quite bold statements coming in from former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. Very concerning statements, I might add as well.
Right. I think it's quite very, very concerning, and we always want to appreciate him whenever he speaks. If there is someone you want to talk about who actually loved this country very well during his government and outside, I should say, is President Olusegun Obasanjo. And you also want to have his view in virtually every issues. Yes. Now, talking about the Almajiri, you recall that I think a non-northern state president created Almajiri School, and we expect that to have get much more support from President Muhammadu
acceptance.
Buhari.
Yes.
But that nomadic education, which is quite instructive and good one. But you see that even the northern part of Nigeria are not doing something consciously to actually do it, you know. And you see that you have about 19 state government from this. If these people come together and have a policy, you know, that would discourage such thing, because I think it's not religion, it's part of some people's principle.
Yeah.
What you know, take what you can manage, don't take beyond what. So I think until there is a caution or there's a kind of punishment of whoever did so that when you caught a almajiri, trace it back to the family, yes, and make sure you give them, you know, what they are expected to have. So I think that would have bring caution, because, you know, like President Pastor just said, we are breeding future Boko Haram, because if they don't have anything to lose, you know, in this world, when you have something to lose, you know, you remember your mother, you remember your father, where you're coming from, the integrity, and you have basic education to also think right and left. You know what is good for you, because for me, those children does not even know what is good for them. They see it as fun.
They see it as fun because their parents have, you know, push them to do it.
And they are accepting the narrative. But you know, you don't choose parents, and that's why they must go and tackle those parents very well. You know, children doesn't choose parents.
I mean, it doesn't only stop at the Almajiri children, that the Almajiri children system, which has been on for decades. Let's come back here to Abuja, where you'd find in places like Wuse 2 and the rest, women mostly with their young children standing
parading,
at, you know, traffic stops or traffic lights and waiting for cars to stop, and then they send their children to go and beg for alms in traffic while their mothers are sitting on the curbs. Down.
I recall, I just saw it today that Wike said beggars should leave the streets.
Yes, it was in the news this morning.
Yes, so I read it somewhere. But the fact is that, you know, we must also look at poverty. You know, in as much as we're talking about it, poverty is also an issue that we must tackle, because if you look at like the narrative you are saying, we have also seen non-northern person, yes, who will send their children to actually cater, to look for something to cater to their needs. So I think poverty needs to be tackled as well, you know, and that's why if you get them to a place where they can actually learn some little things, so that by so doing they can actually move away from I think it's quite instructive that those governors, because everything is federal government, which is quite wrong. Those states need to start doing something, and some of them, you could recall that some of those governors actually marry women in numbers.
Yes.
So because they said they want to reduce poverty, they want to reduce, you know, something bigger, which is a good, but you need to go further to empower those women. You know, this Netflix and a lot of things are there that they can use to empower them. So I think it's very instructive. When you also talk about the president talking about that we have lost our position globally, not only in Africa, and disappointed Africa. Well, in as much as I always want to appreciate him, because when you talk about this Fourth Republic, yes, I think President Olusegun Obasanjo has done way more than all the presidents. I think I should say so, because he created a lot of agencies, you know, created a lot of solutions. Even though he has our own political issues as well, but others did not sustain what he sustained. Because, and for me as a political person, I think he also gets it wrong. You know, when you are handing over to the next person, sometimes you need to hand over to somebody who can continue your legacy, your trajectory, the way you are doing things.
Opinion that
yes,
the
succession you know, plan was part of this problem, because you could see that this person I want to give power is bad. It could be bad, but can he sustain what you're actually doing? Exactly, go ahead. So those are the things, you know. Perhaps Nigeria is like a system. You know, governance is like a system. So if you create a system, look at him now. He created EFCC, ICPC, NHIS, CCCB. They are still existing.
Yes.
So it's a system. So if you have such system in governance as well, I think by now we would have moved more. So administratively, yes. Governance, you know, so to some level, you could see even the successor also trying his own part. So we need a president who will continue to see far, not now. Because if you look at it now, most of the things we are suffering now is what we have actually overlooked and did not take serious. Look at the first subsidy removal. It's something that Jonathan has said, let it go. By now would have been strong enough to
would have grappled with all the effects, exactly, and the economy would have stabilized
by now. So these are the things. So we must move beyond personal, you know, interest to look at solution orientation. But in terms of we have disappointed, we are the largest black in the world.
Are we still standing as a giant of Africa?
Well, you look at the economy and look at population, yes. Because if you go to other countries, they also tell you that you are a giant, indeed.
Yes.
Because if you look at the population, it's enough for us. And population also come the economy, the large economy. If I look at the industry we're having, Dangote, is adding to why we are being called giant of Africa.
Yeah.
So I think we need to do more. All we need to do is just to make sure that we are focused. And that's why I have little issue with this administration. Up to now, I have not seen a blueprint that talks about short-term, medium-term, and long-term economic plan of this administration. We are seeing
those like things we saw in the past, the 7-point agenda.
Let me even go clear to Obasanjo again. You have what is called NEEDS. National Economic Empowerment Development Strategy.
But we have something called the Renewed Hope agenda in this particular.
The Renewed Hope is a general nomenclature. We have to see the operationalization, because you recall when we have needs in the federal government, we have seed in states, and we have leads in local government, and the private enterprise also key into it. So we want to key into your economic agenda. It's very key.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Aliu Elias. I must thank you so much for always finding the time to come here.
Thank you.
Anytime we have a conversation, it's always informative.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, that has been Dr. Aliu Elias, who is an economist and a political analyst, a passionate Nigerian that has been lending his thoughts to some issues of national interest. And of course, as Dr. Aliu has mentioned, it's not about the short-term solution, but a future projection and a future plan to ensure that the lives of Nigerians become better. This is the much we can take on this particular segment of Morning Express. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be turning our attention to other matters of interest. Do well to stay with us.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to una? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
And you're welcome back to Morning Express. Now turning our attention to another issue. We are being joined by Ebiwari Edbon, who is a father of two Interestingly, he was arrested for foreknowledge of the October 1st, 2010 bombing that claimed the lives of 12 people in Abuja. The Abuja High Court later found him guilty of 3 counts charged, including terrorism, and subsequently he was convicted for life imprisonment. After serving 14 years term, Ebiwari was finally released. He regained freedom from alleged role in the 1st October bombing. On this followed the granting of...
And I've not stopped while in prison to blow the trumpet of my innocence. If you are guilty, you will feel it. You will not have that mind. Your conscience will be judging you. I'm not guilty. I know nothing about the October 1st, 2010 Independence Day bombing. And the government know. Those people that framed me up, they know why they did that. And they know from the beginning that I know nothing about it.
Do you care to share why?
Maybe, probably, because in the midst of, in a group, there are people that will be jealous of you. There are people that are ready to sell you. It happens at the race course in 1960. I promised the 50th anniversary, Mommy, come from the village. Let us attend it together. I bought the jersey for her and myself. As I was coming back, I heard of this bomb blast. People, you know, issue. I was about going to the arena. Unfortunately, I found myself as the victim. My innocent self. Why will I? Somebody that worked for the amnesty, for crying out loud. I worked for the amnesty from 2007, before government, the proclamation.
That's in the Niger Delta.
Yes, 2009 it came. I went to the creeks, under rain, under sun. I sensitized people, even at the point, me and my team, our boat capsized in the middle of the sea. I did all the sacrifice. I saw peace. You know why I took to this venture? No. Because they criminalized the struggle. Some hoodlums came into this, never had any knowledge. I don't even know the people. I've not seen one-on-one the people they accused together with me.
Well, while you were in prison, 14 years is a lot of a very, very long time.
Yes.
What can you say the experience was like for you, considering the fact that you were supposed to be there for the rest of your life? But in 14 years, how did you manage to keep your spirit strong,
your
sanity, mind, your sanity intact, and now you are out a better man?
Yes. You know what I did? They seized my memo. I was writing memos, daily memo. I was writing my memos, they seized it. So what I did now was to start writing songs. And by the special grace of November 7, one of my songs will be out.
Well, congratulations.
Like you've mentioned for attention. You understand? So I started writing songs. I wrote 365 songs. I wrote poems here in prison. So I was in solitary for 5 years. What will I do? I've read the Bible back, forth, 4 times. So I started writing music. So, but one other thing that helped me, my wife was on social media. She was very, very loud on social media, telling people. So anytime I come across it, I feel good that they are talking about me. Yes. And some good persons, some good people in Niger Delta, they started working
towards your
going on rallies and all the rest. Somebody like architect Miabi Bribina, they led people to work for my freedom. There was a rally 2017. I spent 2 years there. From Katsina again, I was transferred. His Highness, may so rest in perfect Okboy Tari Diongolo from Bayelsa State. He met with the Malami Abubakar, AGF. So that process started. So I think if they want to say they're giving you a pardon, without the president, the former president meeting, they had the state council meeting. He was there, so he approved it. So His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan approved it.
Have you met with him since leaving?
I have not. If I have the chance now, I intend to meet him. But I'm now a victim of stigmatization.
Yes.
Even my state governor don't want to see me. I will say it openly. Senator Doidiri is a good man, but I don't know in my case. We are from the same local government. We are like brothers.
Yes.
officially, nobody has seen. I have a vision, I have a dream for Niger Delta. So I'm still working to sustain the peace in Niger Delta. And let me say a quick one. As I came out, there's something I must leave region by working towards to sustain the peace. I must commend the National Security Advisor for a job well done in this surveillance arrangement they are doing. Because we are having problem of pipeline leakage and all the rest, you know, we are facing. So now with this security surveillance in our area, people are well engaged. But we need to also improve on that, more funding for these contractors, you understand, so that the engagement will take people off the street. It will take people out of this, you know, some criminality in our creek.
In the creek.
You understand? See, for instance, in my federal constituency, there's
environmental
yes, right now people are suffering. So I want the National Security Advisor to look into this. Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited, they should try and see if they can also capture, add them to their list or their kilometers. It will help.
Now, Comrade Edmond, we have just about 2-3 minutes to wrap up this conversation. You came out and you said since you came out of prison, you have been a victim of stigmatization.
Yeah.
Your state governor doesn't want to see you.
Yeah.
The former president, your godfather, doesn't want to see you.
Yes.
And I believe some of your friends have perhaps deserted you.
Yes.
Right now, on air, what will be your message to Nigerians about who Comrade Edmond Ebiwari is 14 years after prison?
Yes, I work for the amnesty and I want to keep on working to make sure there's peace. It is something I've signed for, and I want everybody to work collectively with the amnesty director, Dr. Otuaro. That Dr. Otuaro is, I will always say, it's a round peg inside a round hole. Is good for the job, and I believe, I've not met him, I believe what he's doing is for the betterment of the entire Niger Delta process for peace. And we should all stick by him, work with him, and I believe even myself, I will be involved in that process because I have not been reintegrated. I have so many people, my followers, they have not been reintegrated because they blacklisted me when this whole thing happened. But it's a new person on board now, but not that it's not experienced. He has the experience, is grounded. So let us work together and ensure that the peace, we enjoy the dividends of peace in Niger Delta.
All right.
And one other thing, let us engage our indigenous companies. There are people that are into oil and gas. We should engage them in Niger Delta project. They are not foreigners in their own land. They cannot be foreigners in their own land. This is how we can sustain the peace in Niger Delta.
All right, Comrade Edmond, I must thank you so much for availing yourself for this discussion. Now that you have laid out this information there, I believe Nigerians are better informed about who Comrade Edmond is.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity given to me. I appreciate you. God bless you.
Well, that has been Comrade Desmond Ebiwari, who is a Niger Delta peace advocate, and he's married with 2 kids, as well as a philosophy graduate of the Niger Delta University in Bayelsa State. He has been explaining his side of the story in relation to the October 1st, 2010 bombing that claimed the lives of 12 people in Abuja. Now,
Creation of knowledge, skill building, and creative discovery.
Naturally, we are all content creators, but the most important thing is, what are you creating?
This documentary follows eager participants as they dive into the world of filmmaking, learning invaluable techniques, storytelling strategies, lighting and sound design, all from the palm of their hands, from capturing the perfect shot to editing with precision. These filmmakers took part in an immersive journey designed to hone their craft.
We cannot wait to show you the incredible films these talented individuals will produce. But first, witness their passion, learning process, and the transformative power of the smartphone filmmaking workshop. These filmmakers are set to showcase the vibrant culture, challenges, and untold stories of the Niger Delta region. Now showing Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. daily.
Join us as we anticipate the groundbreaking works that will emerge from this workshop. This is not just filmmaking. This is telling the Niger Delta story through every frame.
Only on ADBN TV.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an evocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Well, you're welcome back to Morning Express. Now to have our concluding segment of interview on Morning Express. We are currently being joined by the head media and publicity and also spokesperson of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Dele Oyewole, who is a former assistant and editor of Tell magazine and multiple award winner. He's trained at the London School of Management and the University of Cambridge on public relations and issues of economic crimes. He was the former head of media units both at the Lagos and Port Harcourt directorates of EFCC. Mr. Dele is also married with children. You're very much welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the program.
It's indeed a pleasure to have you grace our studios.
Thank you so much.
Very quickly now, let's talk about the matter most hottest on the table.
Yeah.
Where 19 states have filed a lawsuit against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, challenging its legality alongside the ICPC. Now, news this morning says that about 3 states have withdrawn from the suit. How do you react to this as, being the media head of the EFCC?
Well, elementarily in law, when a matter is before the court, it is sub judice. No use breaking the mirror. Go for soap and water.
And wash your face.
And wash your face. So the truth of the matter is that escapism can never be a solution to any problem. If there are problems, let's tackle the problem. There is no dancing around it. There is no beating about the bush. So what the commission has been doing is that we have identified a problem and we are tackling it. A problem well stated is a problem half solved.
Now, Mr. Dele, you tend to speak in parables a little bit. And I know we do not want to beat around the bush, but yes, the case is still in court. Do you think that perhaps there is some sort of personal vendetta against the EFCC by some of the state governors that mandated the push for that suit?
There will always be vendetta now. There will always we are in a war situation. Fighting. The truth of the matter is that whoever has an issue against the EFCC, we always look at ways and means to vent his or her anger.
Yes.
So there could be vendetta, just like you have rightly said it. But whether it is vendetta cannot be an issue before the court. There are facts. So cases are won or lost on the basis of substance, on the basis of evidence, on the basis of facts. And so let the Supreme Court determine, and let us all see what becomes of the matter.
Now let's get back to the issue of transparency in the system. ICPC, just as much as EFCC, are both organizations saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that financial crimes are curbed and stopped, and offenders are prosecuted in the country.
Yeah.
Now, over the years, a lot of people have shared the opinion that perhaps, just maybe, there might be some elements within the EFCC that have compromised the standard that it was initially set with and has been known for many years. Take for instance the case of the White Lion, who visited your office here in Abuja while you were looking for him, and he was not apprehended. A lot of Nigerians are wondering why that scenario happened till today.
Very good. You see, let me take all these issues one by one. Number one, there is no compromise anywhere. Only fools doubt proofs.
Okay.
In the last 1 year, the Commission has secured 3,455 convictions, meaning that 3,455 financial offenders have been jailed in 1 year. So, if there are compromises, where are those compromises? And all of these conflicts, they cut across different sectors of the economy. The high class, the middle class, the low class, or whatever class we may want to pigeonhole them. So, if in 1 year a commission, through the instrumentality of its operation,
yes,
and by the vibrancy of leadership, because leadership is key.
I'm aware that court has summoned him.
So
the exact number
this matter is not just about the EFCC.
Okay.
No, it's not about the EFCC alone. Yes, he came. There was a time he came into our premises. He said he came for reasons best known to himself. And you see, let me.
But he came at a time when the manhunt was on for him.
Yeah. Let me quickly explain this. You see, in law enforcement,
yes,
there are issues that may make ordinary sense. There are issues that may make what we call common sense, native intelligence,
yes,
native sense. But it may not make intelligence sense. EFCC is an intelligence-driven
agency.
There are procedures and processes. There are rules of engagement. There's what we call the standard operating procedure. So a suspect coming to submit himself or herself, there are procedures. He just don't come and say, I'm coming, you have done the propaganda. Even when you have not gone to our premises, you have told everybody that I'm in their custody. You have created a lot of hysteria in the public and all of that. And you want the commission to play into that? No.
Well,
we have reasons why he was not taken into custody. You understand?
Do you care to share those reasons?
No. You see, and there are issues that border on our operations. It's just a normal, it's a commonsensical thing. Somebody you have declared wanted is in your premises. You quickly take him in.
But it would have been talk a little bit about the issue of cyber crimes, what we know as Yahoo or 419. In the country, which is rampant. It's almost like a boastful thing, especially amongst the younger demographic of people in the country who boast of being able to, perform such crimes or criminality online. And Nigerians are beginning to feel like perhaps the EFCC isn't really going after the actual people that they are supposed to be looking out for, people who siphon government funds and the rest, and are now focusing more on these young boys who are into the cyber crimes. It's always EFCC has arrested 15 Yahoo boys, or EFCC has arrested 5, or has raided this, has raided that. Is that the focus of the agency or the commission at the moment?
Now, I think I should make some clarifications in this regard.
Yes.
I just told you now that in the last 1 year, we were able to secure 3,455 convictions.
Yes.
I must also let you know that within that time frame, 4 former governors have been arraigned before the court. 4 former ministers have been arraigned before the court. Key government agencies, they are being investigated. All this one, don't they qualify as high-profile cases?
Well, that's quite a minute number.
No. Do you know what it takes to even investigate a former governor? You concluded investigation, drafted charges.
2022 alone, Nigeria lost 500.
Last year,
2023 lost 500 million US dollars.
Yeah. So when you look at this kind of damages, this kind of losses that we are incurring as a nation as a result of the activities of internet fraudsters, then I think it will not be right to say that the commission is going after them. If you are not going after them, trouble may go after all of us. There is a lot of reputational damage that this country is suffering as a result of cyber criminals. I don't know whether you are aware that today across the world, cybercrime is regarded as the Nigerian scam.
It is well known.
Is it a good name?
Certainly not.
Should we fold our hands? So that critics will not say that, oh, the EFCC is always running after internet fraudsters. We are doing a lot of service to the nation to redeem our image
globally
and to relaunch the nation, respectively in the Committee of Nations. Just last month, this is October, I had cause to go to the UK, for a program, and I think it was at Gatwick Airport there in London, when the immigration officer, they started harassing, asking me questions, delaying me unduly, and all of that. And they started asking questions. My papers, everything entered, no wahala.
Yes.
I was going to Cambridge University. So I said, what problem do you have? It was when I started talking, what's going on? For God's sake, I'm a Nigerian.
Just because you are Nigerian. And the stigma of being Nigerian is already out there.
So many Nigerians have suffered. Some people are suffering the same kind of embarrassment across the world as we are talking. They look at you as a potential criminal. Even with all your valid papers, with all your immigration documents, everything complete, they still embarrass you. Should we allow that to continue? Should we mortgage the future of our children just because we don't want critics to say that this is what we are doing, this is what we are doing? That's why we are focused, because we know the problem, we know the challenges, and we know what the nation is suffering, and we don't want this to continue. My chairman said it. It was in one of these eastern countries some few months back, for a very, very important meeting, the Financial Action Task Force. Now, there was this American, they were in the hotel. They wanted to pay, for their hotel accommodation. There was this fellow that paid before him. He was an American. They took his ATM, he paid, and they returned his card to him. But when it was the turn of my chairman, he had paid. His cards are valid, everything valid. Bring my ATM, they didn't return it. What's the problem? They took the ATM to one room, they did some photocopy. He said, Then he said, what is the meaning of this? He said, we have instruction that any card that bears the Nigerian identity, we need to scan it very well. We need to do that. He felt embarrassed.
That's quite a very
as
big,
the number one
big problem.
Anti-crime fighter
in
Nigeria. Should we allow such situation to continue?
Certainly not.
So that is the more reason why the Commission is making every effort to ensure that the narrative changes. We are not just only involved in arresting, in charging them to court. Now we are profiling alternatives. Yesterday, we had a national dialogue, a national summit on cybercrime, alternative to cybercrime. How do we optimize skills?
Now, in the national dialogue, the summit that you just mentioned, I believe your chairman made a comment that sort of caught my attention, where he mentioned a 14-year-old boy who he took to his office office. He asked him to open his laptop. Without a password, he opened it.
He opened it. He said, how are you able to do this? You know, he said that our youth are intelligent.
Yes.
Our youth are resourceful.
But with such intelligence, Mr. Dele, how do we ensure that they are not just only arrested and prosecuted and sent to prison to go and wallow there for a couple of years, but there should be some sort of mind change, some sort of rehabilitation?
That is what we are saying.
The way the government has always done for probably militants or the Boko Haram insurgents and the rest.
That is what we are. Today, under the leadership of Mr. Ola Olukoyede, there is the Cybercrime Research Center that is already in place in the EFCC. What is the research center meant for? For rehabilitation, for refocusing, you know, for total overhaul of issues that have to do with cybercrime, to train and retrain.
Yes.
All of this, you see somebody that has very wonderful skill, you take him there, you optimize the skill for national development. We are trying to reconstruct the thinking of our youth. We are trying to re-engage them. We are trying to redirect them to a more socially beneficial route, so that together as a nation we'll be able to derive value from our youth. If we say we'll be chasing them every day, putting them in prison, convicting them, it's not in the overall interest of the nation. Let's provide alternatives. I think the whole nation, I mean, without sounding immodest, you have an agency that is doing that. I think we should give a commensurate level of appreciation to an agency that will even think outside the box and say, no, we are not just going to be arresting these people. We are going to provide alternatives. We are going to tell them that you can go into this route. You can consider this. You can direct your skill toward this. You can do this thing in a better way.
That is, if they are willing to accept that.
No, they will be willing, because when you rightfully, it's a mind matter.
Yes.
You understand? They are not congenitally attuned to criminality. As my chairman will always say, Nigerians are not fundamentally bad people. We are good people. It is the system that we run that is the problem. And we are making effort for systemic change, for transformation, in a way that we will all be able to derive optimal value from all that God has given us, our intelligence, our skill. So that is an alternative way of fighting cybercrime, not just holding people into detention and all of that. Let us see what we can make out of all these cases, the intelligence that our youth that they have.
Let's talk about international crime now, mostly committed by Nigerians out of the country or outside the country, or perhaps foreigners who come to Nigeria, commit financial crimes and flee the country. Do you have modalities in place for such criminal elements to be apprehended, perhaps repatriated to Nigeria and prosecuted here?
Of course. Now, you know, financial crimes and economic crimes, they have become transnational crimes.
Yes.
And international agencies are collaborating to ensure that there is no safe haven for any criminal. You have the Interpol there now, the international police. You understand? Anywhere in the world, the draglets are there. There is no safe haven for criminal in anywhere in the world, because except you don't commit the crime. A criminal that commits the crime, he will do the time. Because across the world, there is no hiding place.
So there is a synergy between your agency and Interpol and some other international organizations as well.
Robust synergy. Is it the Federal Bureau of Investigation you want to talk about? Is it the Australian police? Is it the Metropolitan Police in UK? Or any law enforcement agency across the world? Our synergy is solid, is effective, is functional, and is robust. And it is to ensure that there is no hiding place for any criminal anywhere in the world.
Well, you have rightly put it, as Mr. Dele. Oyewole has rightly mentioned, there is no hiding place for any criminal out there in the world, be you Nigerian or a foreigner, as long as you have committed a financial crime within the country that concerns Nigeria, you will be fished out, and whoever does the crime must do the time. Yeah. Let's talk about transparency now. There are instances where your agency goes after criminals or people who have siphoned government funds and the rest. Repatriations of funds are made, recoveries are made, and all of that. I know it's perhaps a rather sensitive topic, but most people tend to wonder, when these funds are recovered, what is the channel of maybe reintegrating the funds back into the Nigerian government's coffers, or what does the EFCC do with these funds?
Very good. Thank you for that question. You know, the mandate of the EFCC allows us to make recoveries of ill-gotten assets, you know, and we are doing that. In the last 1 year, I think we have recovered 286.7 billion naira. That is monetary recovery.
Yes.
There are other currencies. In other currencies, we made very, very substantial recoveries. Now, when these recoveries are made, they are not recovered into the pocket of EFCC officers. There is the consolidated revenue account of the federal government that is kept with the CBN, where every recovery goes. When you recover, you remit.
Directly.
You don't recover to reloot. You recover to remit. You remit it into the government covers.
Now I'm asking this question.
So,
yes.
Yeah, because I think the public needs to know that.
We need to demystify the EFCC and some wrong notions that perhaps the general public have with regards to your agency.
Yeah, there is no need for such wrong notion. It's ignorance. It's ignorance or well, deliberate mischief. Because when recoveries are made, it is, we all know it, we say it every now and then, every forum, we always say it, that when we make recoveries, the recoveries are sent into the government covers. It is either the EFCC recovery account that will eventually be remitted into the consolidated revenue account,
yes,
or the single treasury account of the federal government. You understand? So that's what we do, and we give accounts. We give account of every recovery and how such recoveries are remitted into the government account, into the government cover. So we don't recover money to reloot the same money.
The same monies that you have recovered. The already looted money in the first place.
No. So we recover to remit the same money into the government account for developmental purpose.
Well, in recovery, yes, recoveries are being made, but sometimes it appears as if there are some sacred cows within the Nigerian society where even if recoveries are made, prosecutions are not followed through.
It's not true.
Well, you are here. We are live on television.
It's not true.
I think you can debunk this.
There are
this
no.
claim,
listen to me. There are no secret cow in anti-corruption fight. I just told you that any offender, any financial offender that has committed a crime, we do the time.
Yes.
You understand? Because if we are investigating a matter, sometimes it might take us 3 years. Sometimes it might take us 4 years. And the very fact that we are not talking about such issues does not necessarily mean that we are not working. We only talk when we are ready to go to court. So while investigations continue on any matter, it is wrong for anyone to say that, oh, the EFCC is compromised, the EFCC is not working, there are sacred cows, this and that. No. There are procedures for investigating cases. It takes a lot. There are a lot of things that are involved. You understand?
Yes.
So, and when you look at the scorecard of the EFCC, then you'll be objectively, you'll be able to say that, oh, this agency is working. Because just imagine Nigeria without EFCC. Just imagine a nation like Nigeria without a very effective agency like the EFCC.
Now,
do you know that businesses now, many people are suffering irreparable damages in their businesses because of activities of fraudsters. Many people will want forex. They will say, okay, I have naira. Give me the forex equivalent. They will not return the naira, they will not return the forex. They will bring themselves to EFCC. And we ask them, but why will somebody give you money and you will not return this money? Are you okay? Don't you know that this business will suffer? There are so many of such instances.
So they report themselves?
Yes. Now, if you, for example, now if you give somebody money to give you the dollar equivalent, maybe you want to do some international business, and the fellow neither return the naira
and absconds with it.
So, won't you come and report? We have so many of such reports. And the commission, by the grace of God, have been able to make a lot of progress.
What would you have rather have them do in situations like this? I mean, it's a business transaction gone wrong.
It's a business transaction gone wrong. Assuming we don't have an anti-corruption agency like the EFCC that will intervene and say that bring back his money now. Somebody gave you money, you neither return the naira nor the dollar equivalent. So what's your problem? And we will trace the flow of the money. We will trace the money. We will make recovery and return the money to the rightful owner. Is that not a very, very wonderful engagement?
Well, it's wonderful. In terms of your operations and the operations of the ICPC, there have been instances where the EFCC has had some sort of, clashes.
No,
not just with ICPC now. I'm not talking about ICPC. I'm talking about with institutions like the DSS. In the case of the former CBN governor, where there was a scuffle as to who had the right to keep him in custody. Can you clearly spell out in clear terms what the roles of EFCC are, what the roles of ICPC, which I believe a lot of people listening or watching right now would want to know, and finally, where should DSS draw the line when dealing with EFCC?
You see, it is just misinterpretation of operation.
Yes.
There has never been any clash between the EFCC and DSS, or between the EFCC and ICPC.
But it was in the news.
No, I just call it misinterpretation of operations.
Okay.
You understand? Because there is a very, very active working relationship, among the three of us. And even all other anti-corruption agencies. The synergy is working. Because we all have our mandate, we have our Establishment Act. And so there is no need for clash. There is no, it just people misconceiving things, misinterpreting operations and using whatever adjectival epithet they choose to call it.
Yes.
No scuffle, no clash. Now, the EFCC is the coordinating agency by the EFCC Act, is the coordinating agency for the enforcement of all economic and financial crime, the enforcement of laws, extant laws, existing laws about economic and financial, is the coordinating agency.
Yes.
So, the Immigration Service, if they have issue of money laundering, they refer it to the EFCC. The NAPTIP, if they have issue of money laundering, they refer it to the EFCC. The Army, if they have issue of illegal oil bunkering, they refer it to the EFCC. The DSS, if they have issues of money laundering, they refer it to the EFCC, because the EFCC is the coordinating agency for the enforcement of every law that borders on economic and financial crime. So that leaves no room for any clash, because by the establishment out of the EFCC, the role of the commission, is expressly spelled out. You understand?
Yes.
And this understanding, this knowledge is known among all the law enforcement agencies. So there is no all these things that they say the EFCC and DSS they are clashing. No, we don't clash. We cannot clash, because we are sister agencies. You understand? We work together. The DSS is effective. The EFCC is effective in our individual area of operations.
Yes.
You understand? So we are all working in the overall interest of the nation. So why are we going to clash? Why are we going? No. But some detractors, they will want to lead me to an ordinary issue. No. There is a robust working relationship.
So it was just a misinterpretation of roles that led to that scuffle.
No scuffle.
Well, we saw it in the news. There were videos.
I insist.
We covered
I insist that there is no scuffle.
So what happened there in the court premises?
Court premises?
Yes, between EFCC and DSS over the detention of former CBN governor when he was Yeah, well, he's still undergoing trial, but when the trial was still very hot.
There is nothing like that, my brother.
So it never happened.
There is nothing like. How can there be any scuffle? There can't be now. The EFCC, if there is need for us to work with the DSS on an issue, we do it. If the DSS has need to work with us on an issue, they do it. You understand? Yes. So there is no need for scuffle. There is honestly, I'm telling you, there is nothing like that. So, but people just reading whatever minute they want to read to our operations. But we know that we work together actively, functionally. The synergy is working, and there is no basis for any form of scuffle.
All right, let's move on from that. Let's talk about ground operations, where your operatives tend to sort of, raid areas where there's any sort of intelligence that there's a crime, financial crime, or a cyber crime going on. There have been complaints that the modus operandi of the EFCC ground troops in performing some of these raids is somewhat too not acceptable by the general public. It's like the way armed robbers will just storm a place and operate. And now I'm not. These are not my words. These are comments I've read online. Are there reforms to ensure that your operatives on the ground approach and raid and apprehend people in a better way than they are already doing?
Well, I'm not going to agree with you that we conduct our operations in the way armed robbers or bandits or
knocking down doors and the rest.
No, we are not armed robbers now.
No, certainly not.
We are not. I think I should make this clarification.
Okay.
A sting operation.
Yes.
Is an operation that you carried out without invitation. You understand?
And you don't need a search warrant. No, nothing.
No. You can go with a search warrant.
Okay.
As a law-abiding anti-corruption agency. For example, now, if there is intelligence about a kind of some funds that are stashed somewhere, and you know that truly, by the binoculars, by the intelligence that you have is there. So will you invite the person and say that money that you are keeping in your wardrobe,
bring it out?
No. You break into that place and you collect the money. You understand? So sting operations are operations that are done without invitation. Now, internet fraudsters, they normally ply their trade secretly.
Mostly at night.
Mostly at night. They know their locations, they know their code, they know their modus operandi, they know their trade secret, they know. And by the functionality of our intelligence, we always track them. So when there is need to make an arrest,
yes,
you don't invite them and say, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Korede, Mr. This, please come, we have. No. You conduct a sting operation. And when our executive chairman came in, he's a lawyer.
Yes.
He's a highly respected lawyer. He said, no, I'm not going to be allowing raid. That you don't raid premises. You are not robbers now. You are not, yes, you can conduct sting operation. So he said that, no, I'm not going to allow raid. It's raid that he said he will not allow. He didn't say that he will not conduct sting operation. Every law enforcement agency across the world, you conduct sting operation now. You understand?
Yes.
And we don't do it in the covers of the night.
So now you agree that there have been instances where EFCC
there are instances
has performed raids.
No,
perhaps maybe
don't use raid. I just told you
sting operations.
Sting operation, very good. So if there is need for us to conduct a sting operation,
yes,
we do it responsibly. You don't expect people that have some criminal act that they are performing in the covers of their room to sing praises of EFCC when we break into there and we arrest them. That's why you get all of this
online propaganda.
All this propaganda thing is many of them are blown out of proportion. And 90% of our sting operations, or even more than 90% of our sting operations, always end in very successful prosecution with conviction, because we place far before the court.
Yes.
You understand? So sting operations are always like that. They are always like, we don't do the breaking and busting and no, we don't do that. You see, there are rules of engagement. When our operators, when they go for sting operation, they are monitored. So all of these things that people normally say that, hey, say, many people will wear EFCC. You have seen so many impersonators that will wear EFCC uniform or whatever.
Or your vest.
You see them on the social media. Yes. They will even be using, they are doing skits, using fake EFCC, identity and our insignia of work, which is very wrong.
Trying to depict
trying to portray us in bad light. Calling a dog a bad name so that you hang it. We are not like that. We are very responsible. And there is even a whole department that is called Department of Ethics and Integrity in EFCC. If there is any operation or any activity of any officer, that runs counter to rightful conduct and procedure, you report into that department.
You just mentioned a reform, or one of the reforms that your chairman,
Mr.
Olukayede, has brought about since his inception as EFCC chairman in the system, which is no more raids, but sting operations, intelligent.
There is the review of our arrest and bail procedure.
Well, can you break down some of these reforms? I believe for people who are listening and watching right now.
Very good.
Yes.
For example, concerning arrest. You don't make arrest whimsically. You make arrest when you have exhausted every modality of invitation, you have conducted your investigation, you have your facts on ground, and you are ready to go to court. The moment you arrest a suspect, in 24 hours, you charge the suspect to court.
Yes.
So, you review our arrest procedure in line with the administration of the Criminal Justice Act, that everything that you do it lawfully.
Yes.
And we are doing that. He reviewed the bail procedure. As far as he is concerned, there is no need to keep a suspect in custody for 10 days, 50 days. But why do you need to do that? The basis of arrest is the basis of bringing any suspect into custody is to ensure that when there is need to go to court, you make yourself available. So the moment an arrest is made, they will serve you the bail condition immediately. And you call your lawyer and you perfect your bail condition. If you are able to perfect it in 2 hours, you go. There's no need to keep anybody behind bars and say, no. Bail is to ensure that a suspect makes himself or herself available for trial. When it's needed, you provide a surety. The moment we confirm that the surety is authentic,
and these bails must be in monetary form?
No.
Okay.
Bail is free. Bail is free.
As long as you provide a surety.
Yeah. Bail is free. So he reviewed all of those things. And that's why in our holding facility now, you hardly see people
trooping in and out.
No. Because the moment you have a matter, they serve you your bail condition. The moment you make the condition, you bring a surety or 2 sureties. They look at they confirm the address and the location of the sureties, and to establish the fact that truly they are responsible Nigerians that will always be there whenever we need the suspect.
Yes.
They release the suspect. That is the global best practice. There is no need keeping somebody to be rotting away in detention. No. It serves nobody any purpose.
Well, we have just about 10 minutes to wrap up this conversation, and I think I would want you to touch on one particular thing. EFCC's operations within the ambits of the law. I know earlier when I mentioned it, you sort of touched on it a little bit and skipped it over. Let's revisit the courts, the law court suit now by 19 states that is currently ongoing with the EFCC.
Yeah.
Is the EFCC operating fully in every introspect within the ambits of the law? And if yes, is that enough reason for you to be off, the boldness that you have just said, that whatever it is, whether a vendetta or some sort of hatred from the state governors, you are certain that EFCC will go to that court and they will challenge the legality and come out victorious?
I said it very clearly that when a matter is before the court, we all know it. You don't talk about it.
That much.
The courtroom is the courtroom. The newsroom is not the courtroom. This is a newsroom.
Certainly.
You understand?
Yes.
So matters for the courts are discussed in the law court, not in the courtroom,
not in the newsroom.
Not in the newsroom. The only thing that we can discuss in the newsroom is to look at some issues around it, but not to talk about the facts of the matter. Now, those who went to court, I told you that they went to court challenging the constitutionality of the EFCC Act, forgetting the fact that the Act is from the National Assembly. The Act is it was not in my bedroom that the Act was enacted. You know, it's the EFCC Act was a product of sufficient and intellectual and lawful deliberations at the National Assembly, and so many sessions, and they came up with the idea, was signed into a law. You understand?
Yes.
So it's wrong for anybody to say that the EFCC is an unlawful organization.
Well, for more than 20 years it's been in existence. How is it suddenly unlawful?
So, but let there be a pronouncement from the highest court in the land.
Yes.
On that matter. It's there. The AGF went to court yesterday with the 16 governors. I think 3 of them have opted out now.
3 of them have faltered out, yes.
Many more will see opt out when they see that there is no ground for whatever thing that they are talking about. So I think we should just leave it. Just like I said, the newsroom is not the courtroom. Let the court decide.
Since we can't talk about matters of the court here, now let's talk about another perspective to it.
Okay.
While on one hand, people are calling for a total scrapping of the EFCC, challenging its legality, which we have set aside. On the other hand, some people are saying perhaps the name should be changed and the operations should be fine-tuned in such a way that the EFCC will be more effective than it currently is, which you have pointed out all the wonderful and fantastic works that you have been doing. How do you respond to these people?
Rose, by any other name, will still smell nice.
Interesting.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it is not a matter of the name you give to an agency. It is the matter of the vibrancy, the solidity, and the credibility of its operations. So if they say that we should call the EFCC another name, what name are they going to call corruption? What name are they going to call cybercrime? What name are they going to call procurement fraud?
It's still the same thing.
What name are they going to call stealing and outright investment of funds? There is no point beating about the bush. Is the EFCC functioning? Yes. Are there proofs about the functionality of the commission? Yes. Are criminals at peace with the EFCC? No. Those are the issues. The people that are fighting this commission, they are people that are one axe or the other to grind with the commission. If they are not fighting us, we'll be surprised now. Will you not be surprised that we have an agency that is fighting corruption and the criminals are at peace with
not fighting them?
So the very fact that they are fighting us, they are raising issues, it is because we are effective. It is because we are delivering. It is because the fire, we are stoking fire. The furnace is burning against any form of corrupt practice.
From another angle of argument, analysts have sort of mentioned or pinpointed the change of SARS to SWAT and a reform within that particular unit of the Nigeria Police that has sort of seen a change in their operations and a better approach to their operations, which was the cause of the October 20th, 2020 hashtag EndSARS protest. They have pointed to that as an example of a name change and an operation change that has worked. Can that work for the EFCC?
I just told you now. And now, if I should pose a question back to you,
yes,
in all sincerity,
yes,
in all honesty, as a Nigerian, have you ever felt the minutest impact of the EFCC?
In terms of
efficiency, in terms of effectiveness?
Well, in some cases I have, yes.
Oh, in some cases?
In some cases.
Okay. That you as a Nigerian, yes. In some cases. Other Nigerians will also say in some cases. Other Nigerians will also say in some cases.
Yes.
And when we now marry all of these cases together, you find out that in many cases, the commission is very effective. Let me tell you the truth. Anybody that has an issue with the EFCC, they know. Don't let us deceive ourselves. those who, if you have not felt the teeth of the wind, you will not know how cold it feels.
Yes.
Those who have issues with the commission, they know that the commission is working. Don't let us pander to all of this sentimental, all of this blackmail that is coming from left, right, and center. You have an anti-corruption agency like the EFCC, and people will not be fighting left, right, and center. Corruption fights back. Corruption fights back. So, and the present leadership of the commission is very focused. It's very focused. Where all of these things will not distract us from what we are doing. So, whether a name change, rebranding, whatever thing that anybody may be proposing, the truth of the matter is that corruption is real, and it must be fought, and it must be fought with every effort, sincerity, and focus.
Now, Mr. Dele, we have just 2 minutes to wrap up this conversation. I just want your message to Nigerians in clear terms as the spokesperson of the EFCC.
Yeah, my message is very clear.
All right.
Corruption affects all of us. The state of our road, the state of our infrastructures, the quality of our life expectancy, everything that we see all around us. Corruption has made mess of all of these things. Should we continue like this? No. So if corruption is affecting all of us, we must also be up in arms against it. There is need for collaborative engagement. There is need for public ownership of the fight against corruption. There is need for us to be deliberate, to be intentional, to say, no, we are not going to allow it, because environmentally, individually, corporately, we are all suffering the effect of corruption. So every onlooker is either a traitor or a coward. So you cannot be an onlooker in the fight against corruption. If you are an onlooker, it is either you are also in the business. So we must, all of us must come together and say, no, we will not allow corruption to continue. And as we do so, it will be in the overall interest of our nation.
All right, I must thank you so much, Mr. Dele Oyewole.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure having you on the program today, and it's been a very informative discussion as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, that has been Dele Oyewole, who is the head media and publicity and also the spokesperson of the EFCC. And I couldn't have said it any better than him. It is about all hands being on deck. It is about collaboration. Fighting corruption should be at the front border of every Nigerian's actions. And of course, for criminals out there, if you can't do the time, do not do the crime. That's the much time will permit us on this segment of Morning Express. But for sports lovers, at the top of the hour, Samuel Adeleke will join us in the studio to bring us up to speed with other developments from the sporting world. So do well to stay around. When we come back, there is more. Thank you.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive